Welcome to Chess Puzzles explanation. Let's start analyzing the board now. We see that it's an endgame puzzle, and we also see that the queen has just got promoted. So if we don't plan carefully, there will be like a lot of power that white will have, because they'll be able to constantly give checks, and then they'll be able to start capturing the material as well. One advantage that black has is there are two pawns which are advanced and which can easily make a promotion. So now we need to look at how we are going to attack this problem. So one of the first moves that comes up is moving our rook to g1 and giving a check to the king. So there are two options: either he can move to h file or he can move to f file. Let us say he moves to h file, then we obviously have an option of giving the check and capturing the queen. And once we do that, he only has the rook which is closer to the two pawns. Because we have two pawns and one of them is also closer to the king, we should be able to make sure that at least one of them will be able to advance and promote to a queen. So we don't need to worry too much if the king moves to any of these squares to begin with. But what would happen if he moves to any of these squares once we give a check? We'll need to consider that carefully, because we will not be able to give a check again. So now let's say if he goes here, probably I think even if he moves to any of these squares, because our rook is already in g file, we will be able to give a check, and either he has to move away or he has to capture it, and irrespective I think we should be able to promote our pawn as well. So from the initial analysis, though we are not calculating it fully, I think rook to g1 should be a good move to begin with. So let's go for it. Okay, so now the king has moved to h file, which means that let's say we can give a check by going to the h file. One risk that we see is, because he has the rook which is above the king's rank, he will be able to bring the rook back. But one advantage that we have is, because it is in this square especially, right, we will be able to promote our pawn to queen, and which would also give us a check. So generally when you are towards the end games and your pawns are promoting, make sure that what is a square where it is promoting to a queen, and will it help us hold a check. Because whenever you have a check, it gives us like an additional move which will help us gain a better position. So I think h1 seems to be a good enough move for us. Let's go for h1. Like we discussed, the rook is blocking it, so now let's go for a check. So king is capturing that, and now we can promote and give a check here. So let's do that. So we give a check, and that's the solution. Thank you.